Hello everyone, welcome back to Cloud Institution again. Today in this video we are going to see another interesting topic on the Terraform series. So the topic today is going to be Terraform data source. Okay, so first of all let's see what is Terraform data source. Okay, so Terraform data source in Terraform is a data source which is a way to fetch and use the information from the outside of the Terraform configuration. Okay, what do you mean by outside of the Terraform configuration? So for example, you're having a Terraform project, so you have a Terraform code. Okay, so you wanted to provision some of the resources. Okay, but you wanted to reference or you want to reference those resources which has already been created. Okay, so for example, I'm using EC2 instance or a security group. Okay, so whenever I just wanted to create a security group, but the VPC is already created, right? So I want to use the default VPC which is already created. I don't want to create a new VPC, and then I don't want to create a security group on that one. So in these kind of a cases, you don't need to create the VPC, but you want to use the VPC configuration, as a data source. Okay, so in order to do that, what we can do is, we can use the data source to be able to reference your security group so that it be accessible by your configurations. Okay, so let's see this particular thing in so in a real time. Okay, so now as you can let's go back to the uh, Visual Studio Code. So now I have a simple configuration. Okay, so AWS instances has been commented out. So I wanted to use the resource VPC. Okay, so it'll be creating a new VPC. Okay, and then it's going to be creating a security group. Okay, so what is the security, what the cloud is using, the VPC is going to be 10.0.0.16. Okay, now let's go back to our so now let's go back to our VPCs, and then you can see go to the VPCs, and we have only one VPC. Okay, so that VPC is going to be 172.31.0.0.16. Okay, so now if you can see this one, okay, so now we can see this, so we have only one VPC. I wanted to be reference that particular VPC into there. Okay, now what I do is that I've referenced this resources itself, the resources here in the cloud institution dot id. Okay, so the VPC ID. Now when we do this one, it's going to be creating a new VPC. Okay, let's do the Terraform plan. Okay, let's do the Terraform plan. All right, okay, so if you see the Terraform plan, you see here, so it's going to be creating security group, but it's also creating a VPC. Okay, so VPC dot cloud institution. Okay, whenever if I just go and trigger this, I'm going to apply, it will be creating a new VPC. But so what is my point is that I wanted to use this particular VPC, it's already been created. I don't want to create a new VPC. All right, so in this case, what you have to do, so this is the place where we'll be getting the data source. Okay, so now let's go back to the Google and then Terraform. So VPC Terraform, so if you type like this, you can see the data source of the HashiCorp AWS VPC. Okay, you can go back here. Now, as you can see here, so the data source is going to be AWS data. Okay, so this one, and then the VPC.id. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to click on data, and then I'm going to, I'm going to comment it out because I don't want this. Now, instead of doing this one, instead of creating a new VPC, I wanted to use existing VPC. So what I have to do, I have to give a data and AWS VPC, and then I'm giving the cloud institution as the resource name, and then the ID of the VPC, so VPC ID. So what you can do is, I wanted to make it very, very simple. So what you can do is you can just go back to your console and copy this VPC ID. All right. Okay. Now let's go back here and then paste it here. Okay. Now it's all good. Okay, now if you can go to Terraform plan, it's going to give me error saying that this particular reference is not being found because in it previously it was just referencing this resource AWS VPC, okay, cloud institution, but even though that configuration is same, so we need to add one more step here. Okay, now so AWS VPC cloud institution not been declared. Okay, so what you have to do is that we need to reference the VPC ID for the security group is that data dot okay AWS VPC dot cloud institution dot ID. Okay, so this is the proper way of referencing the modules, reference the resources that is already been present, right? So now what we can do is we can go to here and then do a Terraform plan now here again. All right, okay, now you can see, so the it's going to be creating only security group, but it is not creating a VPC. Yes, right, it's going to be creating only one resource. Okay, but it is referencing the VPC ID whichever it has already been created. Yes, okay, VPC ID is going to be this one which has already been created. But previously, so before referencing it, what we have done, so what we have seen here, okay, is creating VPC, is creating VP Cloud Institution Security Group as well as it's creating VPC as well. Okay, so what do you understand from this one is that, so if you wanted to use any existing configuration outside of your current configurations, so or if you wanted to reference the resources outside of your configurations, you can use data source, of the specific resources, so that you should be able to, so point out that particular references without being created the new resources. Okay, so hope you understand this particular video. This specific, use case is very very important in terms of interview as well. Okay, if you're appearing for interview, this particular video, this particular question may be asked by your interviewer so many times. Okay, so hope you understand this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please post your comment. Please post your questions in the below comments, and we are happy to help you with that. Okay, see you again in the next video.